Starting lineup: Heimerdinger, Warwick, Yone, Vayne, Olaf, up against Jax, Lilia, Varus, Fortune, Tom. Rating of the picks for a casual game: Heimerdinger as a top, 10. Warwick in the jungle, 8. Yone as a mid, 7. Vayne in shooter, 7. Jax as a top, 9. Lilia in the jungle, 3. Varus as a mid, 4. Fortune in shooter, 7. Tom in support, 10. Here in this game, we're gonna have this Fortune-Tom duo, proving once and for all that there is a baseline skill requirement. We're gonna have this Russian Jax player struggling with his internet. We have this elitist Heimerdinger player going after the objectives. And we have a team with 2 Discord buddies. Let's get to it. This accelerated segment, the rendezvous with Warwick. This Russian boy, Jax, coming up with quite a plan. We've had the pleasure of joining up with this entity before. He was using the Samurai Yi skin a couple of games ago on Olaf and gave me a couple of upvotes. Was able to return the favor this time. This poor Russian Jax boy, a genius plan, but an awful internet connection, which means some of his plans and success will be short-lived. This milkshake man, joining up with these invaders, unlike this Tom and this Fortune player, whose stoic indifference in this case won't end up pointing to wisdom, but rather a kind of disconnect with the game and perhaps putting the training wheels on. This unfortunate Tom man and this Fortune player by the name of Horrible Little Man. Sounds like a good thing for a femdom site. This matchup between this poor Russian boy, Jax player, and this well-to-do uptight French young man. You're getting these very strange patterns with a Yasuo-like playstyle. Ultimately, these summoner spells used in unconventional ways specifically to escape the turrets. A bit of a skill mismatch in the bottom lane with this Fortune and Tom, as this Fortune will end up going 0-8 and this Tom player 0-12. This Fortune player relying on a copy-paste build from the internet with Bloodthirster the Collector and Berserker Greaves, alongside the very popular Jackie Love Essence Reaver special. This Tom player making still smarter choices, going with solid magic resist items and Thornmail rather than wasting money on boots. This one-sided affair with the milkshake man. This seemingly Arabian Warwick player having very little understanding of how resistances work in this game. The milkshake man making the rounds and also capitalizing here on the mid lane. This Varus player going to successfully lure Yone into his death. This Yone player using a copy-paste build, very conventional, and with Yone predictable builds are very much okay because of his natural multipliers. This Arabian boy migrating to the west, going to end up meeting up with these three goons in the top lane, making assumptions. At long last, Olaf's potential comes out. We see him go legendary. In display, this inexperienced emotional release of the ultimate bullet time, perhaps the most iconic ultimate in the video game. Bullet time is like a mundane Sankepa trick, one of the most difficult things to get right. A much more simplistic, looks much more ordinary than Jin's ultimate, but probably takes more skill and strategical insight to use perfectly. This is typically a way here, shoving it in someone's face. Definitely not the most ideal scenario. You ideally want some CC from Jax and Dom here if you're Team Red, so that Fortune can step back and influence the entire lane with bullet time in a way that it becomes impossible to dodge. Firing it off into somebody's face like you tried to do on Olaf is something that will essentially never work. In the final play, this contribution in the mid lane, a culmination, a destructive effort against the turret. As we've said in Olaf 5 and Olaf 6, this skit is just so siege-oriented, and that is such a beautiful thing when it comes to a blitz at the enemy base. This abyssal dive function on Tom has so much freedom that it can make a player dizzy. In my little 6-month journey, we've had plenty of time to experience that. It takes a lot of control and a lot of discipline when you get these weird funky spells with an unusual outcome, an unusual dynamic, or higher than average mobility. The more freaky and off the chain a spell, the more maturity it demands. This elitist French Heimerdinger player, not offering up a million social niceties, but very victory oriented and continuously going to insist on pushing a lane. In sharp contrast to this Arabian Warwick player who will be goofing off in the jungle at completely inappropriate times. When we take a look at this Team Blue, we can see Heimerdinger, Warwick, Yone, Vayne, Olaf. Getting an understanding for how well those picks could fit, we see a front line of Warwick and Olaf emerge. If Olaf had been Lux here, you can see a problem emerge very easily with only one character with real brawn. This is a very risky lineup without me. Olaf fit unusually well, providing a kind of equivalent of a playmaker on a pure 3-point shooting team, to use a basketball analogy. Without the addition of a second solid, damage-absorbing brawler, you end up with a freak show of bizarre long-distance 3-point shots. The damage facilitation on this Team Blue is elitist in this Heimerdinger, Vayne, and Yone. Somewhat difficult to play, all three of them, but an extremely high ceiling. We would have to say an overall B in synergy, a deadly weapon with very little armor on it. That is kind of what the Team Blue was. When we look at this Team Red, we see Jax, Lilia, Vayne, Fortune, Tom, and every time you have Tom on a team like this, you're going to dramatically increase your overall synergy because he makes everybody better with his sturdiness. And because of that, you have by itself a golden duo in the bot lane. But in the upper half of the map, this Jax, Lilia, and Varus trio really struggles dearly. No pun intended. You have this Lilia who has no choice being built in the conventional way, but to come up out of nowhere and kind of just present herself with her zero health build waddling onto the stage, trying to facilitate pure AP destruction. You have this Jax, which is like a much more flexible version of Yasuo and doesn't really provide typical cover for Lilia or Varus. And then you have Varus himself kind of hobbling after the two. None of these players can really give each other any cover with their abilities. We would have to say the synergy a high C. Taking a look then at these individuals, considering their behavior and their interactions, we see this Heimerdinger, iconic scholarly phrase that you end up using as an account name. It gives away that you come from a well-to-do uptight environment in what is a country with a lot of hierarchy. In that light, you pushed relentlessly to victory here, playing hard and going after the objective. You were a difficult elitist person, so I'm looking for excuses left and right to try to give you a B, but I simply can't. Because you spent every second of the game trying to attack the enemy base. You are the definition of a winning player, and that can only mean an A. We have this wise Warwick player. Going 4, 6, and 6. More on these item choices later. I would have to give this a very, very low B. Close to a C. You didn't take care of any of the jungle objectives. You didn't help with any kind of tactical approach anywhere. You didn't pitch in when it came to attacking the enemy base. But you did stay active, and you did provide some kind of front line, although more by accident than anything else, using Warwick's insanely high natural stats. We have this Nizen Yone player going with a copy-paste Worlds build for Yone, going 9, 10, and 8. I would have to give this player a B. You played hard, were somewhat aloof. Yone is not the safest pick either, and it has to be said, it doesn't make much sense that you're a team with this person who's playing Vayne, and that you somehow don't find a way to support each other or to play with each other, despite being on the same Discord. If you're in this kind of situation, you would really think like a Vayne Tom combo, or like a Vayne Lux combo or something to that effect. It's kind of pointless to get on voice comm first and then to play roles that have nothing to do with each other. We have this Vayne player Freelandia going 12, 3, and 11 using Ruined King, Rageblade, Wit's End. I would have to give this player an A. You were the most mature ADC that I played with in a very long time. You had an insane map vision, probably one of the greatest abilities to analyze the map in terms of tactical pressure points that I have yet seen. You never sat still for a single second and kept relentlessly attacking the objective. You were flexible, a dream ADC, the maximum score. We have this Zombie Russ 903 Jax player playing on a broken computer and broken Russian internet. You went with Sky something, I always forget the name of that lance. It is really a Riven item, perhaps an Irelia item, really not the type of thing that fits with a lot of champs. You're destroying money here. This Triforce is way too expensive for what it is on Jax. You have this expensive plated steel caps that you're throwing in, you're going tunneler. Somebody has to give you a much better idea of how to address Jax and how to play him. You are an experienced Yi player, and it makes really no sense to have this kind of warrior-prone build on Jax and then to go with pure marksman items on Yi. It should rather be the other way around. I would have to give this player a B. Standard contribution, a lot of involvement, a lot of emotion like with a lot of Russians. We have this milkshake man going 9, 5, and 6. If you had picked Neko here, or Yi, or Wukong, I could give this milkshake man performance an A, but since you picked an inherently dysfunctional champion in Lilia, I have to bring it down to a B. You had massive skill, you played very hard, you went all out fanatically offensive in full AP. We have this somewhat self-glorifying OTW Raku going 8, 7, and 7. I'd halfway advise you to get a hold on ranked first before you start giving yourself titles. Yeah. This might shock people because he was the most honored player and he looks like a pro, but I'm literally gonna have to give this guy a C. Because he went with a troll build using Riftmaker and Storm Surge and Magic Penetration boots on primarily an AD champion. AP Varus is really a troll build and can only address 30% of the total damage that he can do. Varus is not capable of going fully AP. You either go Spellblade with him or you go all the way AD. He doesn't have that flexibility to become a mage. Furthermore, Varus is also an atrocious pick. So this is a person who grossly, as his username suggests, overthinks things to the point of the ridiculous, and you end up making a marksman pick for a mid-lane mage role. You end up giving that marksman a bunch of AP items. This is sabotage. You got the maximum score, but this is sabotage. That is a C. We have this horrible little man playing Fortune. You did atrociously going 0, 8, and 0. Showcasing why I give Fortune only a 7 in the shooter position. You went with a copy-paste build from Worlds by Jackie Love using Bloodthirster, Essence Reaver, and Infinity Edge. I have to give this guy a B because it's not a KDA score, it's a behavior score. You kept going, you didn't sabotage, so I cannot give you a C, no matter what the outcome. We have this Storm player who was very nice to me, going 0 and 12, using quite brilliant items, at least initially, in Thornmail and Unending Despair. You seem to also go Heartsteel eventually, which is the right decision. You went Locket of the Iron Solari, which is a mistake here, especially when your ADC is complete trash. It's very damning for the community that in yet another way, in a very unconventional way, you kind of showcase a complete lack of understanding of how the shop works. In this case, completely to the other extreme, in the sense that you seem to not understand that Tom also has the ability to damage entities. You seem to be under the impression that Tom can only absorb damage exclusively, which is mistaken and also dysfunctional. Everybody should have a shovel. Everybody should have some ability to do some kind of damage. A B, you made a great pick, we'll give it a high B. Overall, you'd have to say a 9, 1, and 11 game with a 20 KDA. Still farming up mastery. I love this combination of items for myself, kind of using Ruined King as a final touch, and when I'm jungling, I may end up starting out with just serrated dirt in the future, especially for ranked games where resources are hard to come by. This is definitely better than average to watch. Was a game that kind of unfolded like a Hollywood movie plot. A lot of quick bursts of action, really some dirty, grindy, casual action. Really helps you remember what makes League worth all the controversy and why it is worth coming back to. Taking a look at the scoreboard here, on the surface level this Warwick build seems somewhat acceptable, but you have to take into consideration here that for the vast majority of the game, you're getting bullied and pushed around by Lilia. And in response, you get plated steel caps and thornmail. So all of that money may as well not exist. What is going on here is also a little curious, and it almost smells of sabotage, because you land here on 14,400 gold, next to my 14,500 gold, and yet somehow the only items you have are Tornmail and Ruined King. When you look at mine, you see Thornmail, Collector, Kanik, Ruined King. That means I have double the items that you have. And yet we have the same amount of money. That smells a little of sabotage. Moving on.
Urge to kill rising. I'm going. Finally, some fun! To plunder! Action!
First blood.
Urge to kill right. The mighty Lockfire approaches.
Ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain. enemy has been slain.
The might of Lokvar approaches. I'm going. Death by steel!
Enemy killing spree. An ally has been slain.
To action! To plunder!
Has been slain.
The might of Lokvar approaches. To plunder.
Enemy rampage.
To action!
Turret plating will fall soon.
might of Lockbar approaches. Urge to kill rising.
Your team has destroyed a turret. Your team has destroyed a turret. Shut down. Slain.
To plunder.
Executed. Killing spree. Enemy killing spree.
The might of Lockbar approaches.
Enemy rampage. An ally has been slain. Your team has destroyed a turret. Rampage. Your turret has been destroyed.
I'm going.
Shut down.
To plunder.
An ally has been slain. An ally has been slain.
The might of Lockbar
Your team has destroyed a turret. An enemy has been slain.
Obliteration! Urge to kill rising.
An enemy has been slain.
Death by steel. Plunder.
An enemy has been slain. Your team has destroyed a turret. An ally has been slain. Shut down.
To action! My axe is thirsty. Chop, chop! The might of Lokvar approaches. To plunder.
An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain.
I'm going. The might of Lokvar approaches.
Enemy killing spree.
To plunder.
It's smaller than the diagram.
An enemy has been slain.
Kill rising.
Enemy rampage.
You breathed till you ached. Now do something about it.
turret has been
It's
destroyed.
smaller than the diagram.
Has destroyed a turret. Shut down.
Lockfar approaches.
Has been slain. Shut down.
To plunder. Urge to kill rising. To action!
Your team has destroyed a turret.
Far approaches.
An ally has been slain.
It's smaller than the diagram. Ah, the sweet smell of science.
To plunder.
An enemy has been slain.
I'm going.
An enemy has been slain. Killing spree. Your team has destroyed a turret.
The might of Lockfar approaches. To
An
plunder.
enemy has been slain. Shut down. Shut down. Shut down.
I'm going. To action!
Smaller than the diagram.
rising. The might of Lockbar approaches.
Enemy has been slain.
To plunder. Urge to kill rising.
Your team has destroyed an inhibitor. Triple kill. An enemy has been slain. Your team has destroyed a turret. Your team has destroyed a